Good morning from Cape Town. This is the third day of the Mining Indaba 2025. The first days have been very informative and we've had some great topic discussions and some great one-on-one and in conversations with type sessions. But today I'm really glad to see there's a few topics which are of considerable importance to our clients. The first one I see on those is voluntary standards. Now, of course, when you're sourcing minerals or when you're producing minerals, you have to meet the expectations of the market. And over the last 10 years or so, there have been many standards which have been developed. On the first panel of those, led by Michelle Bulhart from the Copper Mark, who's a client, long-standing client of ours, it's a session about bringing together 4 of those standards underneath the consolidated standard. The next one later on this morning is about the IRMA standard, the Initiative Responsible Mining Assurance. And in some ways, these two standards are competing for space. And revealing perhaps, look at the title of those two different sessions. The first one is called, the one of the consolidated standard is called the potential, the opportunity for the potential of mining through standards development. Well, the second one of IRMA is around our mining companies telling the truth in their reporting, so perhaps telling about how they're approaching it. So standards is one of the themes today. Another one of the themes is around different commodities, and at TDI Sustainability we work a lot on the resilient supply chains of commodities, and we notice today there are specific sessions on copper, lithium, aluminium, potash, graphite, rare earths, coal and uranium. So these are all some of the commodities that our clients are looking to secure over the many years, over the next few years. So interesting to learn more about that and feedback that into our analysis and databases. Also, significant interest for us is the sessions on the downstream industries, in particular the automobile industry. So at Indaba, the auto companies only came in like a few years ago. This being exclusively mining conference. What we're seeing increasingly is the topics around traceability and how the downstream can become involved in responsible production. So we'll be going to those sessions and see how that aligns with what we are working on with our auto clients. And of course, throughout the whole day, there are sessions on investment. This is the prime objective of the Indaba, and the question around whether investment can be deemed sustainable, what is happening to ESG in the new era of deregulation. So very much looking forward today, and we will report back a little bit later.
I think one of the most important things to consider is that as women in mining or as women in anything, we've really been advocating for diversity. So there's a difference. The different groups are coming, right? And it's easy when you talk about gender because then it's male and female. But when it comes to the needs of a woman in any industry, but in particular mining, you want to identify the various types of women that we represent, or rather that are in the industry. So when we did a situation analysis, well, in Namibia, but now across the continent, we realized that there are four types of women in the mining industry. You have the professional woman in mining, and that's the woman who works in the large-scale mines, etc., etc. Then you've got the artisanal small-scale miner, the one who's actually in the field, owning her own mine, whether it's on a small scale or not, he is. And then you've got the businesswoman, the entrepreneur in mining. That's a woman who is a consultant to the mining industry, or she owns a procurement services company. And I believe that's actually the lowest hanging fruit, because I'll touch on that just now. And then you've fourthly got the woman affected by mining community, so the woman in community. And right throughout all of those women types, we have the youth, the aspiring woman in mining. But that youth group comes with both genders. And I believe the theme for this year is future-proofing Africa. You cannot talk about the future mine of Africa if you don't include all stakeholders, that is both male and female, but especially the female youth and the women community. So that is basically the one thing we have to look at, is the various women type groups that come in here. Yeah, and then you'll realize that each of these groups have a unique, so we have one common challenge, and that's being left out, but there are various ways that you can solve this if you look at these groups, the group types.
And I'm very grateful to represent women in mining. in Africa, Zimbabwe as a whole. Myself, I'm an artisanal small-scale miner. I started gold mining at the age of 15, where we're doing small-scale gold panning in the rivers. So for me to be where I am right now, it's all because of gold mining. We would pan the gold, get money, pay school fees, up to the level which I've arrived right like now. So yesterday we had a presentation on how do we harness the full potential of artisanal small-scale miners. And on that series, I managed to share again my journey as a miner, and also some of the key takeaways were that it's very important to formalize your business, because for me, when I did the formalization of my mine back in Zimbabwe, that's when I started to be feasible, and that's when Zimbabwe Environmental Law Association, which is an NGO in Zimbabwe, they located me through the formalization process which I had done. So they invited me to attend a workshop at the Zimbabwe School of Mines. So I was trained there on fundamentals of mining. Then later on, after that, Fidelity Printers Refinery is a refinery in my country. Due to sending my returns and also sending my gold to them, after every process, they recognized my name. Then they invited me for another training again on mining. So all these trainings managed to build my capacity as a miner, and now I'm able to mine responsibly. I'm able to do anything which I want.
In terms of safety, traditionally these inspection methodologies using laser scanners are done by people very close to the working face, very close to machinery and operators, where people would be stationary for 20 minutes to an hour, hour and a half, wanting to survey these spaces. And that can now be done with the moving Ilios, not only capturing the scan data in a short 5 or 6 minute flight, but also capturing visual data to report back on what is being seen in that space.
Well, addressing health and safety in the mining sector will take, several, I think, a collaborative approach. And then I always emphasize on the collaborative approach. And then the how is, for instance, that most importantly, the various stakeholders, discuss this matter. We also have to bring about policy reform. There's a lot of mechanisms also that we have to put in place in addressing or improving safety and health in the mining sector. Some of the very important steps that we also have to take is, well, even though it's a thorny issue for the workers that we are, is actually also to see how technology can improve health and safety of the workers. We know that technology is not soundproof, but we know that it also has these advantages. And then together with labor, because we cannot have this conversation about the introduction of technology in the mining sector without having dialogue with the people that is going to affect. First and foremost, the workers, who perhaps some might lose their job. I think many, because with the introduction of technology, looking at other sectors, we know how it affected job. But it's important that even as labor, however hard this approach will be for us, we also have to look at the lives that we have lost and we continue to lose. Even though we are all trying in the mining sector in achieving zero harm, it's important that we look at technology and how some of it can assist workers in the daily task while they're mining the minerals that we all need today.
Yeah, so I was part of the Beneficiation panel, Beneficiation, People and Prosperity. So I think one of the underscoring discussions or topic, in this year's Mining Indaba has been beneficiation, has been critical minerals, and also communities, where communities fit within those topical discussions. And in my intervention, during my session, I was speaking broadly from a trade union standpoint and also dissecting the beneficiation policies in my country, Botswana, that as a country we've done very well in terms of citizen economic empowerment, in terms of economic inclusion of citizens in the value chain. Now, when it comes to direct beneficiation, that's where we found gaps. To say that the mineral space is capital intensive. The intention really for government to beneficiate was really looking at the fact that Botswana is a single commodity economy or driven economy, where you have diamonds, which have been the mainstay of the economy, but it becomes very difficult for citizens to actually play a part, in the diamond mid and downstream of the diamond sector. So we are saying that there needs to be more consultative, multi-stakeholder consultative consultations or forums where we can actually draw down and contribute meaningfully to the strengthening of some of these policies so that Botswana can start benefiting more from beneficiation in the diamond sector.
Another topic of interest here at the Mining Indaba is communities, mining communities, so future-proofing African mining communities. This is centered around topics such as the access to water and water technology. As the climate is changing and some parts of the world have become more arid, the question of water generally has arisen, and because mining sometimes can use much water in the recovery of minerals and in the primary processing, the competition for that water in local communities also grows. So again, looking here for the shared value, if you want, or the shared responsibility for ensuring that there is a sustainable water table around mining developments, and there is a mechanism for ensuring that that water is shared and that there's access to that water from the communities as well as for the mine. Another topic around communities has been energy, and in particular renewable energy. So the themes, of course, of the green transition and climate change, it permeates through through many of the sections in the Indaba, and looking at these innovative mechanisms for how communities can benefit from the clean energy dividend from mining communities. So some of the mobile renewable applications for solar, for example, and some of the technologies that mining are bringing through wind turbines and wind energy generation, and how that can be shared with the communities. Another one has been around investment. This is obviously investment in the communities. This is obviously very close to my heart because of the Impact Facility. It's a TDI sister NGO, so it's a non-profit organisation which is invested in communities. And here we're looking at what is the responsibility of mining communities to invest into resilient mining community economies through the support of local businesses, through the support of small-scale mining and formalization of small-scale mining, for example. And another topic which comes up every year, but I think is now becoming more vigorous, is around post-mining landscapes and the economic and social legacy that mining should aim to use, to leave, and can in fact leave. And again, that goes to the landscape, not just the social landscape, but also the environment, the economic landscape as well.
Definitely Africa has lots of rare earth resources that can be developed, but what's very clear is that rare earth projects are beset with very high capital and difficult mineralogy. So to get over these things, you need high-grade deposits, which are difficult to find, but there are one or two in Africa that I believe can be developed. And also we need support from government, because if you're developing a project in Africa, you need, for rare earths, you need lots of expensive reagents, highly specialized sulfuric acid, hydrochloric acid, ammonia, and so forth. And these chemicals you need to get to the mine site, and therefore you need African governments to invest in rail to make it cheaper to get these reagents, or tar roads, for instance, to get access. So that's one thing that was very clear that came out of this. And another thing is a huge amount of capital required to develop rare earth projects, because a typical rare earth project runs into hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. Unlike a gold mine, you can develop a gold mine for $150, $200 million. Rare earth projects require a lot more capital. So we need support from investors and from government to make sure these things can happen, to make it attractive. So in closing, it's quite apparent that there's massive demand for permanent magnets which require rare earths globally, and basically to meet that demand, Africa can be one of those sources of rare earth elements that can meet that huge demand growth we're going to see over the next decade and even the next 2 decades. And Africa is well positioned as long as we get support from, as I said, from African government, and also we need support from the investor community to go and finance these projects to make sure they can be built, because it's not good business practice to rely on one dominant supplier.
In today's discussion, we focused on the role that the private sector plays when it comes to the modernization of the grid's stability in Africa. And this entailed 3 aspects: policy reform, de-risking strategies, and strong collaboration between public and private sectors. The de-risking mitigation involves the integration of distributed energy resources to help decentralize power generation, and also we take into account the implementation of smart grid technologies. And when we speak about the collaboration is extremely important between utilities and private sector, and we need to invest in research and development so that we can focus on innovation and we can make the grid stronger in this way. So considering the implications that instability of the grid can cause, it is crucial that we involve technology providers from the beginning so that we can walk this journey together.
The theme of the Mining Indaba is future-proofing the mining industry, and for the future we have to bring in the next generation, which are the young people, on board to be engaged in the discussions that we are having in the mining industry.
The experience has been amazing. I've met with people that I never thought that I would see, and it's been very welcoming, But my experience with the whole thing is how it's been set up. It's been set up in such a way that you are welcome, you feel welcome, you can connect, and everyone is willing to learn more about each other.
All right, so we've been at the Mining Indaba in Cape Town, South Africa for 2 days now. It's been absolutely amazing. I have been enjoying myself. The energy is really vibrant, it's energizing, and it's encouraging. It makes you want to really go out there and push. It's amazing to see what everybody is doing, and just learning from other people as well on how to do things in your own business quicker and faster and more efficiently. So I'm having an amazing time. In terms of my goals, there were some key people and key businesses, as well as government agencies, who I came here to meet, and I have absolutely achieved that goal so far. And it's been a really productive Indaba for me this year. I'm really glad that I came.
So if we mine better together, it means everyone is involved, starting from the artisanal small-scale miner at community level. We really need to understand the needs of the miner so that we address the real problems which are affecting the miners. Then we move on to the national level, where we have organizations, different actors. So everyone has a role to play in making sure that we provide comprehensive programs to the artisanal small-scale miner. Every organization is important, and different organizations have different niche. So we need to really come together and see how best we can feed into this cake. Then, mining better together. We need to work together as a team. Yes.
Indaba 25 has been amazing for me. It has been engaging. I had 2 sessions where I've spoken for the voices of the community. I've spoken for the downtrodden in the community. I've spoken for the civil society organizations, and I realized that everybody have a strategic role to play. The government, the mining companies, the civil society organization, and the host community. We all have a role, a strategic role to play, and that is only when we can move this sector forward. Enough of blame games, enough of pushing the blames. Let's come together and let's see how we can move the mining sector in Africa forward. So see you at MI26. Thank you.